And we are live in the Fantasy Lounge. As always, Mikey Mac on the mic to the left, the commish, and then Randy. T-minus 12 days?
I believe it's 11. I'm looking at my
days.
thought. Just sent out a tweet from TD's handle. 11 days, and we're bringing you the podcast. How can this get any better? I gotta have Chubb and I'm 11 days out.
You know, and the thing is that we're hearing the voices. We gotta get some more lounges out. So we came at you today with a little lounge. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Exactly. Also, let's just state, how about Steuben kind of stepping up a little bit, inviting us to University of Chicago broadcast, whatever the fuck he goes to?
Yeah.
What is it? Inviting us?
His broadcasting school. There's an opportunity for the lounge to get a little bit more professional. We go to Steuben's broadcasting school, and we might lay down a really professional, legit fantasy lounge.
He was also trying to lay down like some a warm-up track, pretty much.
Yeah.
To introduction to the league. You know what I'm saying? But then again, Steuben is about as reliant or. Would you say the word reliant?
Reliable.
He's probably as reliable as fucking whiskey dick. You know what I mean? Like so.
Which is not very reliable.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, no. A lot of people are chirping. A lot of people are wondering what's the deal with the baby weight. The guesses are in.
The guesses are in.
And we're gonna
documented.
Some breaking news on the fantasy. We're gonna give out each person's baby weight pick for the beautiful future.
The
Ryan
baby's
Hayden.
name is Quinn, just to let you know.
Quinn's dog.
It's a dog.
Quinn,
it's a girl.
Yes.
Quinn Olberg.
Quinn Olberg.
Jesus.
Well, I was getting.
It's more about just the fantasy weight, okay? But all right, she's having a kid on the 18th. That is exactly 2 days away. C-section. Wish Haley the best of luck. But now to the important stuff. We got the numbers. Late's coming in. Guess is 7 pounds, 10 ounces. McCarthy with the 7 pounds, 8 ounces. Gallagher, 7 pounds, 5 ounces. Lewis, 7 pound, 5 ounces.
Ooh, okay.
So it'll be a little showdown there. Ryan went with a whopping 8 pounds, 5 ounces.
That's okay.
Steuben went with the very, very conservative 6 pounds, 6 ounces. Waldo, 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Simo Dallas went with 7 pounds, 3 ounces.
Okay.
I went with a whopping 8.2. Channel went with 7.7. Trotta went with 8.2.
So,
No collusion.
We already know you guys are probably going to say, oh, we conspired to get that number. We did not. It was completely random. I didn't even want to pick a weight. I was going to boycott it, but I threw out a weight and it happened to be his.
Okay, just not drag?
Yeah.
Okay. Channel got 7.7, like I said. Andy went 7.5. So we have a couple people that are tied with the 7.5. You know there will be a tiebreaker. I'm telling you, get to the draft an hour early or as soon as you can and prepare yourself. There will be alcohol involved for the challenge. That is the only key, you would say, only keynote I'd give. Only guess.
Yeah, just
Only guess. So, try to tie too. And try to say he's a boycott any alcohol, so then I'll have better
sober try at the draft.
Sober try.
That's coming.
Alright, so that's pretty much it. So we're going to know soon enough by Wednesday what's going on with the baby weight.
No, with the draft coming around, you get a lot of feels, a lot of good memories. And so we're just going to take a little trip down memory lane and we're going to each, maybe your favorite fantasy draft memory.
Favorite draft memory? You want to start us off? Or?
I think one of my top favorites is, well, in general, I like the draft because everybody comes together.
Because that's the only time you'll see Lewis.
That's the only time we hang out. I think in general, the unwillingness of people to try and trade with me. I don't know what it is, but I always try and work the phones, and no one's biting. But my favorite draft memory is back at your basement. I traded Matt Gallagher. I had Tony Romo and I believe Steven Jackson. He ended up giving me Drew Brees and somebody else. And Drew Brees that year set the record for most passing yards and most touchdowns. And it basically single-handedly carried the playoffs. And it was a draft day trade that I pulled off, and it just always is near and dear to my heart.
Exactly why no one probably wants to trade with you since. Best draft day. Anytime Gallagher ran the draft, that's probably great memories because it was just an absolute fucking shit show. The kid would text you about an hour before, hey, we're going to draft today. Or the year he just didn't even invite me. Yes. Or told us, that's a great draft day memory, near and dear to my heart. I have to say, the performance from Mike Trotta circa 2 years ago when he drafted 9 wide receivers in blackout mode was probably perfect.
It wasn't 9. It was 7.
7, okay.
It's still
7 out of 15 players were wide receivers.
Yeah,
Okay.
so a little under 50%.
Also, I'm gonna have to go with Frings' awesome burgers he made last year that tried to kill half the league. Those things were still those things were still.
Well, looking into the burger. And just
Hey,
like,
Gene, I don't think these are done. Maybe. I think there's 2, and it has to be from Jibber. Jibber Jabs always sets a great precedence. Jibber Jab once drafted Steve Slayton, I believe fifth overall.
There's still inside jokes that go on about that Steve Slade pick. You know, that will never. No one will ever forget that pick.
And then when he proceeded about approximately 3 years ago, it's getting nearer to the end of the draft, maybe 13th round or so. Late's got work in the morning, so he's already told us several times throughout the night, I got work. We know Late, okay? And he proceeds to spill his beer all over the stickers for the draft board. Proceeds to leave. He did an Irish goodbye, just leaves, just dips.
Didn't tell anybody.
Didn't
it
tell-
was
what
13th
kind-
round, too. It wasn't even the 15th round. It was 13th round.
What kind of player is that?
I don't know.
And then, of course, when Eric tried to fight Wasim was probably the last of Eric.
Tensions were high in the draft.
That was the last draft day, too.
Yeah, that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back.
Or Wasim buried him somewhere, we don't know.
Yeah. Anybody's guess. Now, this is good memories. No, doesn't it get you excited?
And I'm looking forward to some more. In a new draft location, like we said before, at Mr. McCarthy's house, and everyone knows the address because I don't know offhand, but he pumped into some money in that backyard, and that backyard's looking great. Can't wait. Draft board came in yesterday too, looking great.
Yes. Okay. Now, as we transition, we're going to talk about the draft. We're going to give you a little 24 pack. Everybody knows the most, pretty much the high pressure picks the first 2 rounds.
Can't miss.
Top
Can't miss.
24, you can't miss, right? 24 pack. And so what we're about to do, we're going to give you some fringe players that, possibly could be drafted in the first couple rounds. And we're going to tell you, are they going in the first 2 rounds or let's wait on it a little bit.
Can I give you a little nugget before we just dive right in? Because you're talking how crucial your first 24 pack is.
Pretty much 24.
Your first 4 rounds combined, on average, according to ESPN, 50% of your points for your team are your first 4 picks.
Foundation.
So the foundation, those are your horses.
Okay.
So you cannot miss in those. You can't draft an Andrew Luck and kills you, even though Andy made the playoffs and the championship game last year. You can't miss in those first 4 rounds. It's GM suicide.
Yeah, you can miss, but you better have a backup plan. You better protect yourself in the later rounds if you're kind of iffy on a draft that early, right? Now, let's get things going with a wide receiver that for the past 2 years has been extremely, extremely productive. And we're talking Demaryius Thomas. He went number 11 last year in our draft. I know because I drafted him. He turned out to be the 11th best receiver in fantasy last year. Does he go in the top 24?
Right now, for me, Demaryius Thomas is ranked 41 in ESPN PPR rankings, 21 among wide receivers, and I'm questioning why is because the question mark at quarterback. But
Mark Sanchez is a question mark. Yeah.
But all of us know, we all witnessed. Some of us, most of us watching us here, was Peyton Manning couldn't throw the ball last year. So, and Demaryius Thomas, what did you say, was 11th best wide receiver last year? So, I'm saying, under Tim Tebow, he was a top 10 wide receiver when you look back at the stats.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think Mark Sanchez is better than Tim Tebow?
I do.
So,
Not the intangibles, but, I think
I'm saying, mark it down, Demaryius Thomas, top 12 wide receiver this year.
Okay, but top 12 wide receiver, is that a first 2 round pick? I mean, I regretted taking him.
In a PPR?
PPR, yeah. I mean, you think about it.
For me, he's a low end number 1 wide receiver, high end number 2.
I think he's a 2 this year, and I think you could wait on Demaryius mid to late 3rd round. I think there's a lot more value outside Demaryius, but I will say this: the man does catch a lot of balls.
Big play percentage.
Something was up last year. I think. I watched him play. I watched pretty much every one of his routes that he took. He just didn't have it because I think the whole mom situation. There's a lot of things going on in Demaryius' life. I think I'm not speaking for him. I don't know.
Leave the off-field issues off the field. Right?
I think this year he comes in fresh, but I think he's outside of 24. Now, the second quarterback taken, the second overall pick last year, Andrew Luck. Obviously, injuries crippled his year. Does someone take a chance and draft him in the top 3 rounds?
Do you say it's a chance though? It all depends. You know our league. If we're talking in our league, if 3 quarterbacks go in the first round, people are grabbing quarterbacks. It's going. But I want to give you a little nugget. I think Andrew Luck's gonna have a great bounce back year. They improved the offensive line. I think first three of the first four picks were offensive linemen this year. They fortified their offensive line. He's more healthy, and the opportunity not to hold the ball as much, you would say.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a little nugget. 14 different quarterbacks so let's break it down through so you have 16 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, let's break it down in 4 sections.
Yeah.
So 1 through 4, week 1 through 4, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
14 different quarterbacks were in the top 5. I have never seen playing fantasy for as long as we have this deep a quarterback position. So the question is, do you wait or do you want something that you know? I think Andrew Luck's a for sure thing. I think he's top 5 quarterback this year.
No. 2014, Andrew Luck, 43 total touchdowns. That's like Cam Newton right there. That was Cam Newton last year. Okay, so if you're going to get that type of production, like the dude's a first rounder. But again, the offensive line is iffy. I just think, to me, I'm not drafting him in the first 2 rounds. But I think someone does take him.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now, let's switch gears a little bit to the running back position. A man that is always drafted in the first round, who's great production, but had an ACL injury this year, Jamal Charles. Shout out to Matt Gallagher. This is Gallagher's guy. When we joke around about Lewis drafting Matt Forte, Matt Gallagher drafts Jamal Charles every year. Now, coming off an ACL injury, he's 29 years old. Does someone take a flyer on him and go high, top 24 here?
Right now he's ranked, I have him ranked as the 23rd overall person in PPR rankings according to ESPN.
So in that case.
So right then he's in the top. But the question is, does he get the goal line carries? Or does he get the opportunity to rush the ball as much? Now you have West in the backfield as well. Do they try to even out running back by committee, try to prolong his career more, or are they still making him the workhorse? I do not see him getting as many as the goal line carries as he did before. So his touchdown, if he's touchdown dependent, he's 20 and out.
Which he can do. Here's the thing. What I like about the ACL injury is that he injured it early on in the year. He's had ample time to rehab. Okay, I believe it was 2011. He injured his ACL very early in the year. The next year, he comes back, rushed for 1,500 yards. He's only 29. I think he still has 2-3 good years in the tank. I think if he falls late second round to me, I think I'm going to have to pull the trigger on Jamal Charles. Now, another injury-plagued season. This guy didn't even get on the field last year. Jordy Nelson. Second rounder by Waldo last year. Does someone, again, take the flyer? Not a flyer, because you know what Jordy Nelson is, but do you risk a top 24 pick on someone that's coming off an injury?
Right now, Jordy Nelson is ranked 21, so in the PPR, like we said before, in ESPN standings PPR scoring leagues.
Okay.
I think it was last year really showed you how much Jordy Nelson meant to the Packers offense.
Yeah.
Jordy Nelson out, Aaron Rodgers' numbers went increasingly down. Randall Cobb's value went increasingly down. Jordy Nelson, the year before, was he not top 2?
Top 5 wide receiver. Put it this way. Jordy Nelson in 2014, if he has the same numbers, he's only behind Hopkins, Julio, and I can't think of
Odell
and Antonio Brown in terms of fantasy points. So he would have been a top 5 fantasy wide receiver this year if he had the same numbers from 2014.
I definitely want Jordy Nelson on my team. I think
He's a winner.
He's a big player, capability.
The thing about, and I think Aaron Rodgers again having his full group back together. I think Jared Cook helps that team a lot. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more. I like Jordy Nelson.
Eddie Lacy probably helps too.
Would you think Cobb gets drafted before Jordy Nelson?
No, not changed.
Not a shot. Okay. I think Jordy Nelson also goes in the top 10.
Right.
Now, sometimes you don't need the numbers. You don't need the analytics to tell you that someone's popping on the screen. Right? Sometimes someone just passes the eye test, right? And so after the first preseason game, who passed the eye test for you? Who's someone that just popped off the screen and you're like, wow, hey, this guy could play, and this guy's impressive.
We're just passing over Doug Martin, too?
Passing over Doug Martin. I want to make sure you get this thing under 30 minutes.
Okay. Eye test, for me, it was Sterling Sharp.
Sterling
Shepard.
Sterling Sharp is already retired.
Sterling Shepard, man. He made 2 great catches, and he passed the eye test for me. Just in his route running capability, you know that Odell's going to get double coverage. It's going to give him opportunity to be that second wide receiver option for Eli Manning. Plus, you don't know the health concerns of Victor Cruz, but Sterling Shepard's going to make a difference this year.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely had a nice preseason week 1. He definitely passed the eye test for me. Now, someone that popped off the screen for me, and someone that I was down on in the first Fantasy Lounge segment, Broncos quarterbacks. All right, granted, they played the Bears, but Mark Sanchez flinging the rock. Out here making multiple completions to Emmanuel Sanders, threw a 32-yard touchdown pass to DT, showing me something. Does he have the potential to be this year's Ryan Fitzpatrick in fantasy? I think so. I think he makes Emmanuel Sanders relevant a little bit, and he also makes Demaryius Thomas relevant. Passed the eye test. I think he threw for like over 100 yards. He did throw an interception, but it was just a great play by the Bears defense. And I like the mobility Sanchez was throwing outside the pocket. Loved it. Passed the eye test for me.
Broncos, I think I hate to say it, anything was an upgrade than the share of Peyton Manning. Even though he was awful last year. So someone that just if Mark Sanchez could do what he did for the Jets when the Jets had a great defense and they made the 2 AFC Championships games, I think he's capable of doing the same thing.
He's got good weapons.
Yeah. He's got good people around him, good running game.
Did anybody else pass that test for him?
That's it for me.
I got one more. Michael Thomas, wide receiver out of Ohio State for the New Orleans Saints. This man could play football. All right, 4 receptions for 67 yards. Already had 6 targets, and that was the majority. I believe I don't know if Brees played, but I saw the highlights I saw was Luke McCown flinging the rock. So put Drew Brees in there. I like it. The guy's a deep play threat. We know how you know how Brees likes to throw the deep ball. You got Cooks working inside. You got Willie Snead on the outside. You're gonna have Michael Thomas on the outside. You got Colston. I think that Michael Thomas might be top 3 in terms of rookie wide receivers this year. Definitely pass the eye test for me.
My only problem with that is I think the only Saints wide receiver that I want on my team is Brandon Cooks. And for the reasons Drew Brees spreads the ball around so much, I can only see
You can't trust.
You can't trust Michael Thomas to start every day.
Yeah, and you're right. So some days maybe Willie Snead's going to have a huge game, and the next game might only get 2 targets. I agree. I love me some Cooks. I also think
that's the kind of thing that it's not the consistency that gives me a headache. So it's either a big pop off. It's high ceiling, very 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 low floor.
Okay. I like Fleener too. I think he's going to be consistent. So okay, now. Good. Pass the eye test. And hey, you at home, if you guys see someone that passed the eye test, please let us know. Tweet us at Solo Touchdowns League, or just text me. How about who passed the eye test for you? We love to see the scouts in the audience. All right. Now, back by popular demand, a nice segment that we came up with. Thinking, or I must have been drinking. All right. So this is when I pose a question, and you know what? Maybe if it gets the wheels turning in your head, that means I got you thinking a little bit. Or, if it was just so stupid, then I must have been hammered when I made this up, right? So, you got me thinking, or I must have been drinking, right? Number 1 here. DeMarco Murray will be a top 5 fantasy running back in 2016.
Top 5? I say no. But, do I like DeMarco Murray? Yes. And did he pass the eye test for me? Absolutely. After he rushed that one ball for 73 yards, he broke some tackles and he had breakaway speed. That is what I wanted to see. What really passed the eye test for me is during pregame when they drafted the guy out of Derrick Henry out of Alabama. The coach called DeMarco Murray right away and he said, "Hey, you are our go-to guy. You're our lead back. Just give him a slap on the back. Like, we have confidence in you, and you know he's going to get the opportunities to carry the ball."
Now, people forget, right? With DeMarco Murray in 2014, he had 351 fantasy points. Now, I know it's 2014, and for running backs that seems so long ago, you put those same numbers in 2015. He outscores Adrian Peterson by 90 points this year. 90 points, and Adrian Peterson was the second best fantasy running back. All right, granted, that was a career year. I'm not saying he's going to do that.
Different offensive line.
If he just gets 2/3 of that production, he's easily in the top 5 fantasy running backs. Now,
I believe he's a steady RB1. I do believe that.
Now, how are they going to use him? Is he a 3rd down back? I don't know. But he passed the eye test the first game. Can he put up 260 fantasy points, which is going to get him in the top 5, most likely, because there's so many injuries now in running back position? I think so. Maybe, possibly, right? I will see, right? All right. Now,
you just have a seizure there, or
almost.
you all right?
Oh, maybe. I'm just pumped.
Mike, your roommate is pumped.
Okay. All right. Let's not butcher the Mike roommate thing, because we all know that people like to
We did find your doppelganger. very recently.
Now, Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall will be the best fantasy wide receiver duo in 2016.
I think you're thinking, man. You're thinking.
Thumbs up.
As long as Brandon Marshall doesn't have a mental lapse, you would say, a mental episode where he's betting Antonio Brown cars, that he's going to get more receiving yards, just stop Brandon
Or
Marshall.
more
Just
receptions or
just
something.
play your game. And as long as he doesn't freak out. But the thing with me with Brandon Marshall is that first year he's always on that team, he always kills. Doesn't matter where he goes, he always kills. But it's always year 2 and year 3 where people get sick of his you could say his attitude, and he gets released.
He seems to love Ryan Fitzpatrick, and so they got a nice rapport there. Darrell Revis is already saying Super Bowl or bust, I think, for the Jets. 26 combined touchdowns last year from Decker and Marshall combined, also 2,600 receiving yards. That's impressive. Now, do I think Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson, the Allen brothers down in Jacksonville could say something about that? I do. Do I think who? I mean, do I think Tyler Lockett, Doug Baldwin could be an interesting combo? I do. But I think Decker and Marshall are just about as good as
I do think a sneaky play, but for this, when we're just talking about wide receiver combos, is Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu.
Interesting.
I do think there's some
banking on Sanu, taking Sanu to the bank. Huh?
I really do think so. I think Mohamed Sanu is more athletic now. Reggie White.
Reggie Wayne or
no? What am I talking about? Roddy White.
Roddy,
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm having a mental lapse here, people. But I'm bringing it this week. All right?
All right, now, a healthy Rob Gronkowski will not be the number 1 fantasy tight end in 2016.
I think you're drinking, man. The dude is a force. He's only 27 years old. Let that sink in. The dude's only 20. He's our age. And he's out here just been not only the best tight end in NFL history, I would believe. Probably. The dude is. This is where he starts. You would think realistically starts getting his prime.
Yeah.
So as long as he's healthy for 16 games, even if he's healthy and he plays in 14 games, the dude is a top number 1 tight end. The only person that could push him is Jordan Reed, I'd say.
He's hurt,
but he's always got injury concerns.
Yeah,
If he's healthy, if they're both playing the same amount of games, I think it's very close. But you still got to go with Rob Gronkowski.
Here's the thing: the tight end position is better than ever. Arguably the deepest position in fantasy this year. Arguably. Now here's the thing: did you know that Delaney Walker and Jordan Reed last year only had 11 fewer fantasy points than Rob Gronkowski? And Jordan Reed, by the way, played one less game than Rob Gronkowski. Also, Delaney Walker played 16 games, but Marcus Mariota was throwing the ball. Marcus Mariota this year is going to be better. Do I think that Rob Gronkowski is the best tight end in fantasy? I do. But at the same time, the value is not there anymore. There's about 5 or 6 guys. Gary Barnidge had a great year last year. I think he only had 18 fewer fantasy points than Gronkowski. So do I waste the top 24 pick on Gronkowski? Not waste, but I don't know. So there's a potential this year that Rob Gronkowski is not points-wise the best tight end in fantasy. Now, okay, we'll do this. No, we're gonna speedway into again everyone's favorite segment of the show because it's my segment, and people love Mikey Mack, and that's a little pop-off, drop-off. Last year I gave you guys some good nugs.
Great nugs.
Great nugs about the quarterback
Tossing
position.
on nugs at McDonald's.
Love me some James. I think James Winston, Cam Newton are pretty much the same quarterback this year. And so, you get James in the 7th round, you get Cam in the 1st. You decide. Okay. This week, I'm going to give you guys some overall fantasy running back pop-off drop-offs. Now, pop-off, I love me some Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram only played 12 games last year. Was the 11th best fantasy running back in only 12 games. He averaged 17 points a game in fantasy. Now, you average that out over a 16-game stretch, he's the 2nd best fantasy running back in the NFL, over AP. Mark Ingram is producing. He has an offense that throws the ball a lot. He catches the ball in the backfield. 17 points a game last year. Chalk it in the books. He's giving you 17 a game last year. I think a healthy Mark Ingram, without a doubt, is a top 3 fantasy running back this year. He pops off in a big way. Arguably could be the best running back this year in fantasy. Love me some Mark Ingram. He pops off. Now, a guy I'm down on, Latavius Murray drops off. And he didn't even have that good of a year last year. I was willing to mortgage my entire draft because of how high I was on Latavius Murray. And granted, at the beginning of the year, he had a really good start to the year. The man finished playing 16 games and finished the 10th best fantasy running back last year, which is top 10 is good. Now, the man had fumble issues. He only averaged about 5 yards per reception, which is one of the worst at the running back position. So, not only is he not making big plays in the receiving game, he's also dropping balls, and he also had fumble issues. Now, the Oakland Raiders are serious this year. They're not messing around. I think they drafted a 5th rounder out of Texas Tech that they like a lot. If Latavius Murray starts putting the ball in the deck, he's going to see limited snaps. They're already talking about. I think they're already talking about Washington taking some first-team reps in Oakland camp. So Latavius Murray might not be the feature back like he was last year. I think Latavius Murray drops off in a big way outside the top 20. Whew! I'm fired up. That was just a very passionate pop-off, drop-off because of how high I was on Latavius Murray last year.
We're really moving right now, too, by the way.
You know, yeah, I wanted to make sure we get it under 30.
I don't think it's going to happen, but we're trying.
We're trying. All right, 41 minutes is a lot last, but we had a lot of good information last week, but we wanted to make sure we speed it along. We still got, I joke around, pop-off, drop-off is a great segment, it is. But there's nothing like a good commissioner's corner. So, Randy, I'm interested to hear what you got cooking in the corner tonight.
First off, Commissioner's Corner, we're back. I'm going to apologize for last week. I'm getting a lot of feedback that I didn't really bring it. You know what? It's just one time. I was warming up, I was in the pen feeling great, got out on the field and threw a fucking dud. And that's on me, guys. That's on me. First off, the Commissioner's Corner, I want to talk about the installment of the competition committee. You know what? A lot of people always call for my head. You're on top, you're on the throne, people are gunning for you. All right? This, I want to show you, the competition committee is made up of 3 people. It's pretty much to show my transparency to the league, to show what's going on behind the scenes, and to show how much I progressed as a commissioner. The competition committee is going to be made up of 3 individuals. All right? If you have a vote and the commissioner puts it down, you can appeal my decision to the competition committee, and you need a 2/3 vote, so 2 out of 3, in order to get something passed. Okay? So we're gonna at the draft night, we're gonna elect 3 officials to be. This is an esteemed honor, by the way. I do not want it to be taken lightly. These 3 individuals to be part of the fantasy process.
Sure. Yeah, that's just a good shot at some checks and balances again, because last year there was echoes. They were, for your head.
Everyone's calling collusion all the time. Yeah. Like I'm out here trying to ruin people's lives.
Yeah. That's very nice. I like that idea. I think the commissioner corner coming up with the competition committee. That's a lot of C's.
But I just want to tell you something. That's not it for the commissioner's corner.
Oh, so that's more. So that's a good night.
Some more. Let me play some music.
Oh, okay. A little ambiance in the corner today.
Now this is the real Commissioner's Corner. From your very own Mr. Raina Hanson. Let's let this ride out for a little bit.
Feel it.
Alright, guys. I've been the commissioner of this league for going on 6 years. Leave the music play. And not many times I could say I've been proud to hold such an honorable position until today. Approximately 2 weeks ago, a man woke up and he went to work, just like any normal day. But on this day, it was nothing but normal. As this man was behind his desk, drudging through the work week, he hears a commotion coming from downstairs in the office. But this man doesn't work at any ordinary office. He's a dedicated worker at Royal Savings Bank, and they are being robbed by a man with a gun. Against all policies and procedures. This man, this employee, was told not to get involved. But this man is a red-blooded fucking American. And he jumps into action. With the help of security, they wrestle this man to the floor and take him into custody. This bank robber, this shithead, this scumbag, trying to steal from hard-working Americans, trying to steal their money that they work for. This man jumps into action, I tell you. He jumps and he takes it into consideration. He doesn't care about his health. He doesn't care about his well-being. He's out there for us. This man is named Laith fucking Jabra. Original member of the Sold Out of TV's League. I view these actions as a monumental achievement for the league. And I'm a strong believer that the years of persecution and the years of dealing with these 12 degenerates, this man made him for this moment. So, Leif, this is to you. You're our Sasquatch, our brother, our tall, lanky pool noodle. But most importantly, to myself, to Mikey Mack, and from the Sold Out TV's League, you're our hero. And we're proud of you and for what you've done and putting the Sold Out TV's League on the fucking map. So, Leif, we love you. And to you tell the degenerates, we fucking love all of you. Can't wait to see you.
I mean, there's no better way to end things than what I'm saying.
Just a fucking American story.
Yeah, and some just, heroism on part of life. And just, just the fact that we love everybody in this office.
It's a lot of hate, but it's a lot of love.
Well, that about does it here in the lounge at 33rd Emerald. And again, check us out on Twitter. Rain does a great job at,
I'm gonna start putting up some polls and stuff like that too. So just jump on and just cast the vote.
We want to hear your voice again. If you have any issues or you have any concerns or any type of topics you want to talk about in the lounge, don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to text me.
You know what? Let's go, fellas. Prepare your livers. Prepare your minds. Get your mind right. 11 days away.
All right. As always, it's never too late to come relax in the lounge. Take care, y'all.
Good night, Italy.